So I think the biggest thing that guys worry about in the manosphere is false rape charges. So I guess like my first question to you, how likely is that to happen? How grounded is that fear? Do you think like people are overblowing that, or is this like obviously false rape cases happen, everyone knows that. The question is like how likely is that to happen to the average person? Have you seen that in your career a lot? I guess that's kind of what my question is.
Like in terms of false grape, that's not going to happen very often. It's like the lottery. It's like the inverse of the lottery. The whole premise of the lottery is you're probably not going to win, but if you do win, it's going to change your life, right? That's kind of like the inverse of the grape charge, where it's probably not going to happen to you, but if it does happen, it will absolutely change your life, but in the negative way. Now, there are other false charges or false allegations that happen, and those happen all the time.
What are those?
Well, like a woman and a man, let's say they're married and or dating, whatever. They have some type of relationship and they're in a heated argument. And then the woman, slaps the guy and the guy doesn't do anything. And the woman goes to slap the guy again. And the guy kind of grabs her hands and kind of, moves them away. And then she calls the cops and she says that the guy beat her up. Well, if there was a camera there, you would see clearly that this guy did not beat her up. This guy was only protecting himself, never hit her, never struck her. But, when the police come, what are they going to do? They're going to arrest him. That happens all of the time. You see in divorce cases, any divorce attorney who's been practicing over 2 years will tell you that women so often use the law enforcement arm of the government against men to get an advantage in the divorce, right? So if a woman wants to kick the guy out of the house because they're going through a divorce, she'll go to the attorney. She'll say, hey, I want him out of the house. And her attorney will tell her, no, we can't really, make him leave. We have to get a court order, but the judge is going to say that it's his house too. And so, you're just going to have to ride it out. Well, then the woman will go home and call the cops and say, oh, well, he hit me, or he threatened me, or he's surveilling me. He's harassing me. And the cops may or may not arrest him. But what the cops will do is show up and say, hey, you need to go file for a restraining order. And some type of temporary restraining order, some type of temporary protective order. And the woman will go down to the courthouse and apply for that. A lot of times, and certainly in Georgia and other states, they're given free attorneys, and they'll prosecute you on the temporary restraining order, the protective order. Now, it's not a criminal action, but it has strong consequences in that if the woman wins, and so many times these orders are rubber stamped. The woman gets up there and sheds a few tears, and the judge says, well, out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to go ahead and issue this restraining order. Well, guess what the restraining order says? Now you can't be within 500 yards of her. Well, guess what? Now you got to move out. So that's what she wanted in the beginning, because she filed this divorce against you. She wanted you out of the house. Her attorney told her that she couldn't make you get out of the house. So she does an end around and she goes through the domestic violence route. The domestic violence way, gets a restraining order. Now you have to leave, right? And a lot of times when you have to leave, guess what? The judge makes you continue to pay the mortgage, especially if she can't afford it. So while you are forced to move out, you have to continue to pay the mortgage. If you have kids, you might have to continue to pay the child support. You got to continue to pay the light bill, the water bill. It's not like you can move out and cut the electricity off. If she has a car that you're paying car insurance for, you can't cut that off. So, in terms of a false grape charge, those are very rare. And, if you look at the numbers, but in terms of false allegations of domestic violence, that probably happens every day.